Hey guys, it's yfeah here. I'm going to do a quick video on some of the tips and tricks for getting ready for BPL and what to do when you're in the league. So most of these things you can do in advance of BPL actually starting. So if you're getting ready now for the league to start and you're kind of waiting and need something to do real quick, you can set up some things over on trade and you can set up some things in game as well. So first I'll go over using the trade site in BPL. So in general, BPL is kind of a group found style game, and so in this league, you would be kind of freely trading items between your co-team members, and it is allowed to trade across teams, but in that case, it's not free trade. You'd want to try to get kind of equivalent trades across each team when you do. To set up a trade search within the trade website, first you need to make sure that you're logged in on the Path of Exile website first. You're logged in, then you should see the BPL Purgatory League in your dropdown here. You may get a link that's provided by your team lead that has these things already filled out for you. That link will not work until you've been added to the league. Hopefully, if you're watching this closer to the league, that's already been complete. But if you're watching this like as soon as I post it, you may not have been added to the league yet, but you will see this before league start. The search works identically to a trade search that you'd normally do, so all the filters you can do on your own. The key thing that you want to look at for BPL is that each team is going to set their own currency for their trade searches. And so if you see something that's listed at that team currency price, the expectation there is that any of those items are freely available for trade. Again, no expectation that you're actually paying that much currency to get the item. So the first thing when you're looking at that is your buyout price. And so you want to find out what currency item they're listing it under. So maybe they've got divine orbs. If your team price is 55 divine orbs, then you want to have minimum 55 and maximum 55. So this will only match items that are priced exactly 55 divine orbs. The other thing to look out for is the sale type. Sometimes different ways that you list tabs, the price may be listed correctly, but sometimes it's not always perfectly listed on sale type. So I usually set that to any as well. Those are the main two things for the filters that are specific to BPL that you'd want to do for the trade search. From there, you can set it up however you want. The cool thing is, once you're in the league, once you have this drop down available, you can actually go ahead and start your live searches for the whoops in advance of the league actually opening. So even though the league's not active, you can actually go in there, look for your item, hit search, and then do activate live search. Now, as long as your browser doesn't refresh or lose the live search here, right at league start and for the entire time that you've got that browser open, it's going to keep giving you those live search whoops, and you can get your kind of common uniques, but maybe one that you may not be expecting to drop yourself. You may live search that, try to get into your build. Maybe you're looking for like a +1 wand that people may put in their stash. You can set all those live searches up and go ahead and start the live search when the league or before the league starts even. It'll continue through the league start. If you've not used live searches too often, one thing that I'll note, let's say you've got like a lot of decent, really common, unique items that could work for starting your build out, but you're not really set on like, one specific item or anything like that. You don't want to necessarily have like 15 tabs open for the 15 uniques that could work for your build. So one of the things to look out for is that a lot of uniques have tags that are very specific to that one unique. You can put those in the stat filter here. If you change the stat filter to count with minimum of 1, and let's say you want some kind of rampage gloves. So if you hit tilde to start the search, it'll allow you to search any of the words within the phrase. So, let's say I want to have the rampage gloves for endurance charges, and maybe there's one of the rampage gloves I want to have live search. So this way now, if any one of these shows up, it'll ping my live search in the same window, and I don't have to have multiple open. let's say I find both of these items, and maybe I've got many more items that are listed that I've got specific search terms in here for. If I take these out and restart the live search now, then I'll stop looking for those gloves that I may have found already, and I can keep looking for the other ones. So this is a good way to set up a minimal amount of tabs and not have to fill up your entire browser bar with live search tabs. So all this revolves around your team's price, obviously. Again, trade is allowed across teams, but it is not allowed to deceive anyone to try to get free items. And it's heavily encouraged that if you've got a pretty valuable item, that you're going to want to check with your team, make sure that you're getting back a valuable item enough for your team. It may not be directly valuable to you, but maybe there's an item that is really build enabling for a pusher for your team or something like that. So that would be a way to kind of make a fair trade across teams. So aside from the trade site, setting up your stash to get ready for BPL. So when you are logging in, you should see once you're added to the league at the bottom here is going to be BPL Purgatory. You'll have the countdown here. This is the button. Join is the button you have to use to join the league. Make sure you're creating your character in BPL with the right prefix at the beginning. That's very important. You can get a name change from GGG if you go really far into the game and not realize that you've set up the wrong prefix for your name, but make sure to check your team announcement to see what your prefix should be. When you hit join, it's going to create your character. That's how you go in BPL. But BPL, the league itself, is going to inherit from Scourge Software Trade League. And so if you want to set up your stash in advance, you can actually go ahead into the Trade League on the character. If you don't have a character in Trade League, you can just create a quick one and run through past Hillock and kill him and get to your stash. And when you set up your stash, any of the tabs that you have, any of the coloring, labels, anything like that, is going to migrate directly into BPL. I think even the affinity does migrate as well. The one thing that will not migrate is if you have a public tab. It's going to start out being private as soon as you start the league. So you may need to check the checkboxes for your public tabs. It might be a little tough to set the prices in advance, but what you would want to do is find a tab that you're going to use for trading. You're going to go in to the tab in advance. Let's say I want to set this public. And either negotiable price or exact price should work. And again, let's say the currency for my team is going to be 55 divines. So I've got this sale tab now that's available. You can price your unique tabs. Other tabs that are really good to price are going to be like fragment tabs and things that you might want your team to be able to look for in your stash. So all of those you can price in advance. If you do not want the Trade League to see all of your tabs and items in those tabs at that price, you can just price it and then uncheck public. It's going to save that price, and as soon as you start BPL, you can re-enable a public tab for that, and it will be listed again. And so those are some quick tips on how to get things ready for BPL. Again, you can list as many tabs at these prices as you want. The key there, again, anything that you put in those tabs, the expectation is that you'd be willing to freely give it away. If you really drop something that's very important to you, it's very valuable to you, this does migrate to Trade League. There's no forcing you to have to trade an item if you really don't want to, if you really want to keep it. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, that there's no one's going to force your hand to actually trade the item. In those cases, though, make sure you keep those items out of those publicly listed trade tabs, because otherwise your team is going to expect that you would trade those items for free to them. And I guess one last thing about trade as well, for point scoring, when you're looking to actually get boss unique items for points, or heist replicas, or heist gems, any of the scoring items they need to be with any co-lead or lead that has their stash being tracked. And so they should have that in the announcements on your team channel of who items need to go to. In those cases, make sure that those team leads get the item basically as soon as you can get it reasonably to them. Try not to hold on it for too long. If you post it into the global chat and then hold on it for too long and forget about the item, or maybe you log off for a while, the lead may not realize that it actually got submitted, and they may still keep searching for that item. So the lead will take the item. In the case when they have a scoring item, the general rule we have is that a scoring item goes to the stash of the person that's being tracked, and it stays in that stash. And so if you have a build that really needs Shaper's Touch, the gloves, if you get the first drop there, store it with the team lead, you now need to drop a second pair that would be freely available for the team to decide where that goes. And so that's just one thing I want to make sure is clear, is that you would be handing over those scoring items as soon as they reasonably can be given to the team lead, and those would stay in their stash to be tracked. All right. Thanks for listening, and I hope everyone has a great start to BPL and a great league overall.